This is the Repentance Tower on Trailtrow Hill, close to the old Hoddom Castle, not far from Annan. Although a fortified structure, it was never intended to be a habitation in the same way that peel towers were. Instead, it was built as a watchtower, built on this commanding position to give a very good view over the Solway Firth and surrounding land, to guard against either raiding parties from England or invasions. Above the first floor entrance to this watchtower are letters in Gothic which read out the word repentance. There are various versions of how this came about. John Maxwell, who upon marriage became Lord Herries, is known to have demolished a chapel, Trailtrow Chapel, that stood on the hill. He is said to have used the stones towards the building of his new castle, Hoddom Castle, down below. The Archbishop of Glasgow got to hear about this demolition and was far from pleased. As an act of repentance, John Maxwell built the watchtower. Another story is that John Maxwell had been bound over not to fight against the English, and to assure this agreement, 14 hostages were being held in Carlisle Castle. However, when it came to it, he did fight the English, and all 14 were put to death. He built this tower as an act of repentance to the loss of his fellow countrymen. Another story is that he'd been violently opposed to the rule of Mary Queen of Scots. However, upon becoming a papist, a Catholic himself, he built the tower to make amends. Finally, there's a possibility is this stone originally came from the chapel and was reused. The tower could communicate to the surrounding area in two ways. The first was by having a bell. This was rung when the raiding party was actually entering Scotland. It also acted as a warning for all those who were out and about to take refuge, and any that didn't could be seen as conspiring with the English. A beacon was also lit, and this was to be kept alight for all the time that the raiding party was still in Scotland. The building has a number of very narrow arrow slits and also gun loops. On the side facing the Solway Firth there was also either a large window or another door that's been blocked up. After the union of the crowns under King James VI of Scotland, King James I of England, there was much less need for the presence of a watchtower. The final use of the tower was its conversion into a doocot or doocot. Some alterations have taken place to the watchtower over the ages. For instance, the stone steps have now been built up to the front door, whereas previously there would have been a wooden ladder that could be withdrawn into the castle. The Murray family held Hoddom Castle for a time, and they seem to have established a mausoleum on the top of Trailtrow Hill next to the watchtower. There's a plaque on it to show that this was later rebuilt and enlarged by the Murrays of Murrythwaite. A number of old gravestones are found close to the mausoleum and the watchtower. Some of these are dated from the late 19th century.